Well, the Saints won today. Woohoo! Yes, yes, yes. Me personally, I'm not happy about it. I was not impressed with this win. Matter of fact, Derek Carr and the Saints offense, they look the same way they have looked all season, like garbage. This is one of the most boring, uninspired teams that I have seen in New Orleans in the past 2 decades. At least in 2005 when the Saints went 3-13, at least we knew we were getting a high draft pick. At least there was some hope that we couldn't get any worse. There is no hope with the Saints right now because Mickey Loomis and the Saints front office, they refuse to admit this ain't working. There is no need for me to listen to the post-game press conferences. There's no need for me to listen to Mickey Loomis on his weekly appearance on WWL later this week. I can already tell you what Denise Allen is going to say after the game today. I thought we played well. There are some things we can work on and we're going to get them fixed. Believe me when I tell you, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. Yeah, you see, the problem here, Dennis, this team has had things to work on all season, yet for some reason, there has been zero growth. The Saints we see today is the same team that we saw in week 1. Actually, the Saints we see today, they're worse. This team has found a way to regress when there was nowhere to go but up. I already know what Mickey Loomis will say on Wednesday on WWL. We dominated a division rival. The Falcons lost. We have a top 12 offense. Drew Carr is doing an excellent job leading our defense. His name is Derek Carr and he's the quarterback. No one sees him as a leader. Oh yeah, Donnie, that guy. I'm glad I gave him $150 million. Great investment. I have stuck by what I said here on the channel 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. I believe it was after that loss to the Falcons when Denise Allen came out of the bye week looking great with his makeover. The makeup was properly applied. The hair was perfectly in place. Dennis Allen, he looked great with his physical makeover, but he didn't do a damn thing during the bye week to prepare his team. After the loss to the Falcons, I said I wasn't watching another Saints game until Dennis Allen was fired. I wasn't watching another Saints game until they hired a real leader, a real man to be the head coach of this team. And I've stayed true to my word. I did not watch the Saints today, but I saw enough of the garbage on NFL Red Zone to confirm that I am making the right decision. I don't care that they won. I don't care that they squeaked out a win at home against the worst team in the NFL. Well, KC, they won 28-6. The Saints dominated. No. The Saints, they were begging Carolina to win that game. The Panthers, they simply wanted to lose more. Ideally in the NFL, you want to have a dog at head coach and a dog at quarterback. That's the ideal scenario. Now, sometimes you can get away with having a dog at the quarterback position and a timid pussycat at head coach. Or vice versa, but you can't have both. You can't have two pussycats in leadership positions. You can't have two kittens trying to lead a pack of wolves because what ends up happening, the wolves devour the kittens. And that is exactly what's been happening throughout the season in New Orleans. Back in October, Derek Carr tore into Chris Olave on national television, accusing the young receiver of quitting on a route. Now, of course, Chris Olave didn't quit on the route. Donnie threw the ball 10 yards out of bounds. Donnie Carr has been a comedy of errors throughout the regular season, but for some reason, I have yet to see Don take any responsibility during press conferences. When he speaks publicly, it's nothing but empty words, statements that I expect to hear from someone who is a perennial loser. When you're accustomed to losing like Derek Carr and Dennis Allen, you become a professional at saying a lot without saying anything. You become a professional at making excuses, making things seem better than they actually are. How many times this season have we heard Derek Carr say something to the effect of, I know we suck, but I'm choosing to stay positive. Positivity is key in the midst of a 10-year losing spree. Yippee! First month of the season, I'm willing to buy it. After losing a couple of games in October, I'll still give you the benefit of the doubt. After witnessing 3 months of some of the worst offense I've ever seen, I mean, outside of a few key players, I struggle to call the Saints a professional offense. After 3 months of painfully boring football with no signs of growth, No one gives a shit about your positivity. No one is biting into the shit sandwich that you're serving. Last week, Mickey Loomis, he went on WWL and basically begged to be fired. After that embarrassing performance against the Lions where the players showed you in the first quarter that Dennis Allen's lost the locker room, the home crowd, which only consisted of about maybe 50% Saints fans because season ticket holders, they sold their tickets for cheap to fans of the Detroit Lions. The 50% that were in the Superdome, they were booing this team off the field. And when I say this team, they were not booing Alvin Kamara. They weren't booing Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Taysom Hill, Chris Olave. They were booing Derek Carr, Dennis Allen, and Peter Beater Carmichael. Peter Beater's not qualified to be an offensive coordinator at this level. He would be better off finishing his career as a Preparation H salesman. But after the trio of huge embarrassing failures were booed off the field last week, Mickey Loomis, he didn't blame the trio. He didn't echo the sentiments of several Saints players who said it was their job to give fans something to cheer for. Instead, Mickey Loomis, he blamed the fan base. He lectured the fans, telling them they should not be booing the players or the team. Booing doesn't help us. I don't like it. Well, that's great, Mickey. You know what I don't like? I don't like seeing Dennis Allen on the sidelines every week looking like he has no fucking clue what he's doing. I don't like seeing Peter Beater Carmichael on the sidelines holding up a play sheet that couldn't win a Pee-wee football game. At this point, I don't even know if it's a play sheet. It's entirely possible that Pete Carmichael is holding up the menu at 5-Star Frank's thinking about which wiener he's going to order after losing another game. I don't know how much more Mickey Loomis needs to see to figure out that Dennis Allen has lost this locker room. Multiple players have told the media this team is not prepared to play. They're not saying this anonymously either. They are saying this on camera. Last week, I think it was Carl Granderson. He was asked why it takes the defense a full half of football to settle in and start to actually play. He told the media, "We are not scouting opponents properly." Translation, our coaches aren't preparing us. On numerous occasions, Alvin Kamara has stated that the locker room is together. The players are united. They're playing for each other. But not one time, not once, have I seen or heard one of the Saints players come to the defense of Dennis Allen. That should tell Mickey Loomis all he needs to know, but since he clearly has trouble hearing, since he doesn't hear the players, since he doesn't hear the boos in the Superdome, Michael Thomas took it upon himself last week to give Mickey Loomis a visual illustration. During the game last week against the Lions, Michael Thomas, he was live tweeting highlighting the incompetence of Derek Carr. Now, some people called it unprofessional. Me personally, I thought Michael Thomas was just telling the truth. But I'll tell you what it really told me. I already knew this, but Michael Thomas, he just confirmed it for me. The players, they do not respect Dennis Allen. This is not the first time something like this has happened this season with Michael Thomas. They don't respect Dennis Allen. They might like him. They might think that he's a nice guy, but like I've told you guys before, nice guys, they don't make good leaders. They don't make good head coaches. The players in New Orleans don't respect him. If Sean Payton was in New Orleans, Michael Thomas, he would have never done something like that, especially on social media. Why? Because he would be afraid of the consequences. Sean Payton spent a first-round draft pick on Brandon Cooks. His first or second season in the league, he was the leading receiver in New Orleans. Brandon Cooks becomes a diva. He becomes a problem in the locker room. Sean Payton trades his ass to New England. September 2014, after 4 productive seasons with the Saints, Sean Payton gave Junior Galette a 4-year contract extension. During the 2014 season, Junior Galette was a problem. During the offseason, Sean Payton cut him. He released him. Same goes with Kenny Stills. Hell, after 3 straight 7-9 seasons, with the defense setting records as the worst defense in NFL history, Sean Payton basically cleaned house, fired his defensive staff, got rid of players who refused to buy into the culture. As a player, you might have messed around, maybe you defied Sean Payton, but there was never any doubt what the consequences would be. With Sean Payton, you either bought in or you got the fuck out. It is the complete opposite with Dennis Allen. It has been a week now since Michael Thomas disrespected Derek Carr on social media and disrespected Dennis Allen. What were the consequences? There were none. Dennis Allen said, "We will handle this internally." Translation, I am afraid of Michael Thomas. It took Sean Payton and Drew Brees 15 years to build a respectable franchise in New Orleans. 15 years. It has taken Dennis Allen less than 2 years to completely destroy it. For 15 years, Sean Payton and Drew Brees, they had the Superdome sold out for every game. Most games, you couldn't get in the building for less than $100. Check this out. This was the crowd in the Superdome today. Now, the announced crowd was over 70,000, but there wasn't close to 70,000 people at the game today. Based on this picture, I'd say the Superdome was filled to about half capacity. Nosebleed seats for today's game, they were selling for as low as $4. $4! It cost me $5 to watch our high schooler play flag football. The popcorn in the Superdome cost more than the tickets. For the small price of $4, you get the experience of watching Derek Carr pretend to play quarterback. Against a team with nothing to play for, Derek Carr had 119 passing yards. My favorite play was when Derek Carr threw a slow motion pass to Andrus Peat on the offensive line. What a great play. You can't do nothing but laugh. I mean, this team is an embarrassment. And if Gail Benson isn't careful, this organization, it is going to become an embarrassment. You cannot run this back next season. There needs to be major changes from top to bottom. Mickey Loomis, gone. Dennis Allen, goodbye. Pete Carmichael, treat him like Milton in the movie Office Space. Move his desk to the basement, hand him a can of Raid to kill the roaches. Stop sending him paychecks and hope he just stops showing up. But give me your thoughts on this. Do you think the Saints will make major changes this offseason? My biggest fear, especially with the Falcons losing today, is the Saints finding a way to win this division. If that happens, I guess my girlfriend will be excited because it means our Sundays next fall will be open. I think the Saints are going to blame all this on Pete Carmichael. They're going to make him the fall guy, and they're going to bring Mickey Loomis and Dennis Allen back next season. Please find a way to convince me that that is not going to happen. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. I appreciate you guys and your continued support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.